Hi, I'm Lucia Willems, and in this video I'll be reflecting upon my learning experiences during this course and what I can take away for it in future practices. This unit highlighted various learning experiences both as part of a team and in my individual work. Specifically, as part of the creative department of a team, I realized how an agency would function in the real world and the amount of communication that must be involved throughout the course of a campaign. I also learned about how different departments present their research and ideas and seeing how an idea can come to life from beginning to end. You can use this information to work on areas that need improvement or works best. Realizing it's not always linear and on time also helped with time management and working under pressure. Our group displayed good synergy and support for each other most of the time. Now I'll briefly touch on 3 experiences that reflected theories studied over the course and how they impacted my learning. One area that I found useful was message reframing and how much this can impact a campaign. This theory can change the emotional relationship with the consumer and lead to formation of positive attitudes. For our assignment, I suggested this angle and we ended up basing our campaign from this. I thought about how monotonous the market was currently and how we could separate ourselves while still pushing the same type of product. Looking at similarities of brands across their packaging and platforms helped identify trends, but probably more importantly, where gaps were. We used this information to pitch to those who brands weren't marketing to instead of who we knew they were trying to reach. This can be applied to many advertising problems in future and pushes us to be more creative with solutions, I think. It shaped our decisions, especially as creatives, and received good feedback from the panel when we presented. They cited this as being part of disruption theory, and this helped with the positioning of the company overall. Understanding the consumer decision-making process was another thing that impacted my learning experience for this course. Knowing the steps of the process helps form the direction of a campaign and tools to best reach our consumers. For our client, we did extensive research on the target audience and experienced the market from their point of view. This helped us to understand how they were feeling and in turn how to best appeal to them at these different stages of making decisions. Forming the consumer insight was an important part of this and helped with strategy direction. For future practices, I think it's important to remember theories like this to build upon the basics and produce ideas with these things in mind. One of the most useful frameworks to me, not only for this semester but over the entire course, was contingency theory and realizing the different types of leadership in groups. I found this theory impacted my practices and I frequently realized how relevant it was both professionally and personally. Knowing this, for me, it was easy to identify people in my group with those discussed in the theory, and it impacted how I communicated with them. A specific example from this semester was when one person in our group was quite domineering and at times really hard to work with. It was evident who in our group took up certain roles during the situations. Some challenged him, some said nothing, and some acted as negotiators. In many times in my life, I've come across this scenario and probably will come across more in the future. And tactics when communicating with others can help bring out the best in people no matter what their individual style is. I realize my style leans more towards relationship motivations rather than task motivations most of the time. Understanding this not only helps strategy and ideas formation, but also impacts on the entire group dynamic and how goals can be reached despite confrontation or conflict. I think these 3 things were significant to me because they highlight the importance of theory as well as understanding others. I can see where theories learned have been put into real life practices, and knowing this makes it easier to evaluate in the future as well. Interpersonal communication techniques are also an aspect that can be applied to both professional and personal scenarios and will help greatly in future. As part of studying communications at QUT, I think I've achieved a balance between both theoretical and emotional intelligence.